Whoa! There's not a lot of traffic out here, guys. Hey, this is Bill O'Reilly. I'm just checking out the traffic out here in the San Francisco Bay. We're having some. Oh shit!
Recording live from San Francisco. What's that?
Nice.
Bridge?
Steve flew a special floating desk to San Francisco to do this podcast.
No, I'm on a ledge. I'm not floating. I'm on a ledge. It's right there. Very rocky.
Oh, well,
very firm.
You've got Gaul, my friend.
I've got Gollum, like Lord of the Rings.
No, Gaul. You've got Gaul.
Oh, so not Gollum.
No, you don't have Gollum.
You know what? I'm gonna.
Or his real name, Smeagol.
Yeah. Smeagol.
Good impression.
That's my one Smeagol impression for the rest of the night. There will be no more Smeagol's.
You know what? I think we're happy about that.
You know what? That's fine with me. No problem, because it's sunny and warm where I'm at right now.
We're the Cosmic Vultures podcast. Welcome to episode 2.
That's right. Welcome. This is number 2 of the Cosmic Vulture podcast. Tonight's guest will be Stephen Damon Tilley of Renegade Cartel, celebrating their second album.
Well, I think it's their first full length, but they released an EP before that. But you know what? Yeah, second musical endeavor.
So we'll say second release.
Second release, yeah. We're excited to have Stephen on here. He's a good friend of ours. We have a lot of fun with him. Oh, no, not you, Steve.
I thought you were excited to have me on.
Me and Steve are excited to have Steve Constantino on here, and Steve Constantine. All the way in San Francisco, Steve is joining us. So it's great.
Yeah, really nice. It's like over there is like some pelicans. Like way back there is like a whale. I don't know. It's really cool over here.
Yeah.
Really
nice. Jonathan Chesbro, our guitarist, is currently at his place of employment. So he will not be joining us. If he does pop in, it'll be quite the surprise. He might be in a gurney. No, not gurneys. What do people in hospitals wear when they work there?
A gown?
A gown? No, it's not a gown.
Yeah, they wear gowns.
No, they wear not slacks. What are they called?
It's scrubs.
Scrubs.
Just like the show.
Great show.
Really good show.
So John will be in Scrubs if he does join us. And Akiba is not with us. He may pop into. Who knows? The whole night is it's up to, whatever happens.
This is going to be one of those nights. Happens. I agree. I would go closer to my microphone, but I might, it's a big fall down there. So, I just disappeared. I disappeared like that.
But this broadcast and this podcast, broadcast and podcast. Oh, that's crazy. I didn't realize those two rhymed. I'm going to use that in the future for a lyric. I'm going to be like, and then the broadcast because the podcast, and it's going to be good.
We could just call this the broadcast podcast.
Oh, I'm sure there's a broadcast podcast out there. Or we could be the podcast broadcast.
Podcast broadcast? That's a lot.
It is a lot. I think it just should be podcast, but whatever. We can do what we want. We don't have a boss. We're our own boss. We're not even getting paid for this. This is fun.
So tonight's agenda or itinerary or synopsis, which one is it?
I mean, we got Stephen coming on in a little bit. We'll bring him on in and we'll discuss some stuff with him. In the meantime, we're still, observing and following the pandemic and seeing what's going on with that.
Yeah, still staying safe, as they say.
The last thing I checked on the news was that Trump stated that he could, in fact, reverse the decisions made by any state. So if the governor says, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do that, Trump says, no, I'm going to change that because I'm the president. So I'd like to see how that's going to turn out. It's going to be very interesting to see how that goes.
This is going to be an interesting 18 months, to say the least.
It's going to be an interesting 6 years.
according to our last podcast, our esteemed guest Jonathan Chesbro said
Well,
this.
he wasn't our guest. He's one of the showrunners.
That's right. Yeah, he's part of the show, of course. So he was saying this might last into fall of 2021.
I'm going to call bullshit on that. That just seems ridiculous. I think Trump wants to be done with this by June. So if he wants to make that decision and go ahead and do that, whatever, we'll see what happens. But he also wanted to get this done by yesterday, by Easter. So that definitely didn't happen. So, we'll monitor it. We'll keep you guys updated with what we find in case you don't watch the news and don't really care about it or don't have time for it. We'll do our best to keep you informed. We'll start off each episode maybe with a little bit of pandemic news about COVID-19, and we'll go from there. Just to keep you updated. To take this opportunity before we bring Stephen on to give you a little information on what we're doing. We told you, I think previously, that we're working on an album. We're excited about it, but you can see and listen and hear all of our previous things at the cosmicvultures.com. I think has the album Mariana on it. There's some cool pictures. What else, Steve? I don't even remember what we have.
There's a lot of music videos on YouTube. We got, well, not a lot. I mean, there's a couple we did. I don't think they're actually, some of them aren't available. Those are kind of like the ones we did ourselves, but there's two professional ones we did. One's Angel Dust, and the other one is the more recent one, Seven Witches. Both we had those professionally done. A lot of really good people involved in that. I think it came out really good. A lot of that was shot actually in John's attic. John was his character was this creature that crawled around, and it was really cool. Derek's role, he was kind of possessed by the witches in the video. It's really cool if you like Halloween-y kind of stuff. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't label it as evil or anything like that. It's just kind of cool, dark, mysterious, in the vein of Halloween, mysterious kind of stuff like that. I feel like that.
Yeah, it was a fun project. It was like themed as like a fun old timey horror movie, and it's entertaining and it's fun. Nobody was hurt in the making of.
I think someone got injured. No,
John's hands maybe when he was using that hammer, but because he put the hammer down. But yeah, you can check us out on Facebook. Check it out. Just type in the Cosmic Vultures. You can check out future dates for our gigs. Right now, it's kind of like we don't know what we're doing, what we're playing in the summer. We're hoping that at least by midsummer we'll be playing some shows. But you can check us out on Instagram. We are on Bandcamp. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. Right now, I think iTunes is still around. I know it's going away soon, but we're still on there. Basically, anything that you can stream, we're on. So check us out. Check out the music. YouTube channel. We're going to be posting the podcast episodes in the YouTube channel. And there'll be more videos coming. And you can actually see some old performances of us as well. And I know I'm missing something. There's got to be something else I'm missing. I was just looking at you for a while and then realized that that still was up.
What is up? This is just.
You're right. I forgot you were there. I'm sorry. It's just, there's just I don't see any traffic. I mean, there's nobody out. I mean, I gotta be from the pandemic. I don't see anyone in that.
Yeah, there's not going to be, you see what I mean? Like, there's not going to be anyone here or, oh, my finger's gone.
Yeah.
Sunny out here.
What's going on there?
It's really
clearly not a screen. So again, thanks for joining us. Please share it, please like it, please spread the word, tell people about it. If you like it anyway, it'll be good for more viewers. We'll have some fun on here. And like I said, we'd love to have anybody on here who wants to be. If they just want to, if you're not, involved in the arts and you just want to talk about it, come on here and talk to us. I have friends who are big into movies. Come on here. We'll talk about movies all day. We're big movie buffs, and we have a lot to share as well, a lot to talk about. We can talk about anything forever. So, like I said, message us, shoot us a message. If you want to be on here, we'll put you on the books and get you on here at some point. We're still trying to figure out what days we're going to be, putting these episodes up on Facebook, but we'll inform everybody about that. I think the episode 1 just dropped as we speak, as we're filming this. April 13th.
I think we were contemplating a Wednesday for a regular Wednesday release. Is that where we're still thinking, or is that still?
It's possible. I think at the rate that we're going, we might be delivering more than one podcast a week, but we'll see how that turns out.
Possibly Wednesdays and Fridays we're aiming for, but if you guys have suggestions on when you'd rather these be released, let us know. And again, this is, think of this as more, we're just trying to create a platform, and it's going to ultimately be a community platform. So like everybody is welcome to come on here and discuss anything you'd like.
Yep, absolutely. And I just want to go ahead and say that I love Steve's Smashing Pumpkin shirt.
Absolutely. Oh, it's disappearing. Oh.
And I have a Frank Zappa shirt.
Oh, yeah. The Mothers of Invention.
Mothers of Invention.
I still have a vinyl.
I would have worn my pumpkin shirt. I have a pumpkin shirt. 2 of them.
You should bust it out. It was either this or my Joe Pesci shirt. That said, nice. Funny How. Solid. I'll be showcasing that on maybe next couple episodes. I'll put that on. But I was gonna say,
sounds great.
I have a Frank Zappa record that I have yet to open, which is a problem because a lot of my records I still haven't opened. You've bought me several in the past that I still have not opened. It's just a thing.
Hey, you know what? You can listen to it on Spotify and just hold them shrink wrapped.
Yeah. I'm like, this will always be perfect as long as I don't open it.
Right.
Really, it's a sickness.
Absolutely. But you know what? You know what? We have like I said, Stephen Damon Tilley coming on tonight. We're filming quite a few of these coming up. We have Kate Eppers tomorrow. She's a great singer, songwriter. We're gonna have her on here, and she's a friend of ours.
She does film too. She does some film.
She does. Well. I've seen that she does like a lot of that. Yeah, she does short films and things like that. So we'll talk about that and get some links for you guys so you can watch them as well, because she's very talented. And Wednesday we have another singer-songwriter, Michelle Forziati. We're going to be filming with her on Wednesday. That should be exciting. She's a friend of ours as well. Thursday we're with John Fiore, who's of the band Cooped Out, and also he does solo work as well. And I know he teaches for a school. I think it's called School of Rock. I think he's a teacher there. He teaches music. And Friday we're with Christopher Cardone of Heavy Necker. And I think Monday and Tuesday of next week we're working with Eddie Sermon. He's a good friend of ours. He's been in quite a few bands. We'll talk with him. And then lastly, I think we'll get Jack Manning from England, all the way from England, joining us to promote his new EP. And he's a friend of ours.
Cool cat.
And we'll have some fun times. But yeah, we'll go ahead and bring on Steven, and we'll get this shit going. What do you say?
I like it. Let's do it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Our first guest, Mr. Stephen Damon Tilley. How are you, sir?
Good. I don't know how this audio is going to do with me.
Whoa, Stephen!
It sounds fantastic. Yeah. It sounds very good.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for coming on the show. This is a new thing we're trying. And actually, you're the first guest, so congratulations. We should we'll send you going to send you a medal.
We'll send you a care package at some point.
Nice.
Literally,
it's not chocolate.
Yeah, I wouldn't bite it. It's literally just going to be a piece of metal. It's not like
it's chocolate, then I'll still enjoy it.
we won't engrave anything in it. We don't have that technology or funds.
Just a piece of scrap metal is all we got for you, Stevie.
Perfect.
Yeah. But so you're our first
man.
guest.
Hey, just trucking along, trying to survive in this mad world. How about you guys?
Same here. I got furloughed until June 26th. So I'm just at home collecting dust.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
Same here. Just collecting dust on my head.
Mainly Steven, you're currently working.
I am still working. Yep. I'm essential.
Yep. I get you.
So I work at a security company. So a lot of the hospitals had a lot of major changes to their card access systems and their camera systems. So we've been pretty busy with that and trying to catch up on some backlog work now that a lot of the sites are shut down. So,
dude, they giving you some sweet OT on that?
Actually, they just stopped all the overtime because we're not getting service calls, so they're afraid that the money's not going to come in when the overtime gets cashed out. So,
all right, you still getting
a couple weeks ago, I got a couple good runs of overtime, but they're they're trying not to shut down right now is what it is. So at least the 40 hours is enough, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
It's scary to be out there, but at the same time, I wouldn't want to have to like file for unemployment right now or anything like that. So,
well, hey, if you have to, it's there if you need it, because it's definitely helped me right now, because I got laid off almost immediately because I work in the service industry, restaurants. So
yeah.
I work on coffee and espresso machines. So it was like instantaneous. My boss is like, "Yeah, I think you should just file for unemployment." I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, man."
Yeah, my
Sounds
stepdad's a
good.
glass guy, and for a long time, they were just pretty much saying, "We're going to give you 2 weeks' pay. You can use any vacation time, this and that." But then a lot of these companies and businesses that are staying open started putting up a lot of those plexiglass things in front of the people. So he actually got work out of that. So we've been kind of off and on with him. So
I gotcha.
trying to keep the family alive.
So yeah, what have you been up to musically? Just at home? Are you doing anything? I know you've been. I love your videos when you play the keyboard and do things like that. Are you writing anything on the keyboard currently, or?
Not writing anything solo wise. We had a couple of ideas in one of my bands, Renegade Cartel. We had a couple things we jammed on a few weeks before all this stuff went down. But since the downtime, Vic's actually working from home too, so he's just been churning out the riffs, man. So he'll send me a riff, he'll send me a full song, I'll record some bass, I'll record some vocals. So we've actually been working on that stockpile. So we just released the last album in at the end of October last year. So we're definitely not looking to spend the money to record another one. But at least we'll have these tunes that we can either slowly unveil as singles or, you know, play them live to get the feel of it and then record them maybe 2021. But we're still chugging away on the songwriting. I've been trying to develop a way, and I know a lot of people are doing it, maybe recording each part separately and then putting like a video together, because right before it hit, we did an acoustic jam for Facebook Live, which of course only lasts for as long as people want to watch it. But I might chop that up and put each song individually up. It's just a matter of trying to figure out what's, you know, everybody and their mother's playing live right now. So there's definitely no shortage of going on Facebook or whatever your streaming platform is and seeing that, which is great because it keeps it alive. And then people taking, you know, donations and stuff like that to keep the musicians who rely on that that income. You know, it's a great outlet for everyone there. But yeah, most of my Facebook Live stuff is silly. I'll have a couple of songs in mind, like cover tunes, and I'll jump on, and most of them are not rehearsed. I'm like, I should have at least learned that chord before I started playing this song.
Yeah, I hear that.
But it's just really me going on, and anybody who is looking for a Renegade Cartel update or status or anything like that, we're just kind of keeping in touch, I guess, at this point, just to make sure that everyone's alive and still plugging away.
Yeah, and for those of you watching who do not know, Renegade Cartel, they're a kick-ass, in-your-face, guitar-blazing rock band compiled of Stephen, who's here with us, and Vic's the guitar player, and Rob's the drummer. And I'm actually friends with Rob on Facebook, and I got to say, I love his Facebook posts. They're always hilarious.
I had a funny story about that real quick. I was out in central Massachusetts area at a bar/restaurant where they had a live, a friend of mine, Chip, was playing live. People were coming up to all the other people I was with because they knew the area, they knew the people in the area. But one guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you're in Renegade Cartel." And I was like, "Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
He goes, "Your drummer's Rob, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "That dude loves sex." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "All the things he posts on Facebook are so dirty." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my God, Rob,
Amazing.
Reputation here, huh?"
That's how he knows you guys.
Yeah, that's what he's infamous for. But you know, yeah,
right, infamous, exactly. So you're in a ton of bands, or you know, past bands that are present. Name off if you want to, name off the bands you've been in.
Yeah, man. I was actually just going through some of the old stuff from high school. I started off in a band called, what what was the first one? After Dark. I think there was a media suite on floppy disk for Windows way back when. And I liked the name, so I stole it, made a band. Didn't do anything because everyone went hardcore. All the members left. But I started building up the repertoire with bands and knowing the people. And then in high school, I had a band called Cantrip. We did a lot. We recorded an album and an EP. We were actually on WBCN's radio show because they were feuding with AAF at the time about the fact that local bazooka was pay to play and all that good stuff. So Toucher and Rich brought us on, played a minute and a half of our song with an A&R rep. I mean, no discredit to the guy, but he told us we were too young, keep going, see what happens. And then the band broke up, as they do sometimes.
Hey, Steve, I was going to say, was that before WBCN was turned to like soft rock? Was that when BCN was cool with Nick Carter?
Yeah, it was probably a year or two before they shut down. So
okay, so you got it just before they
just before Toucher and Ridge left and went to WEEI, I think.
Oh, okay.
They went to sports radio. So we got in the studio with Toucher and Rich, and they were great guys going through our band page at the time, liking all of our influences. And
sick.
It was such a cool experience, man. Like, we did a lot for that band, in terms of when you're 17 and playing rock and roll, that's the positive things that keep you going, Oh,
yeah.
So, of course, we won the high school battle of bands our senior year. It's, like, propelled us to feel really great about it.
Oh, yeah.
And all these, like, cool little things that when you're young and you're doing stuff in a band, you like to have those little achievements that just keep you going.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, then very shortly after we broke up, BCN ended. And I always blame the band breaking up on killing BCN.
Imagine if that was the actual cause. That was just the final straw for that stage.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah.
The guy making decisions like, you know what? Forget it.
Why this band on? It's done.
yeah, forget it. Cancel. We're going soft rock.
Yeah.
So I met you when you were in Top Down.
Yes.
That's how we met. We did a couple of shows together. And yeah, I mean, the energy in that band was great. Your vocals are just great. You're a very confident singer, and you know what I mean? Just when you sing, every note matters. I've noticed that and that's really important. I look at that for guitar players, like, every note matters for that. But for you specifically, you're a very confident singer, and that goes a long way for sure. Then from Top Down, I know now you're in Renegade Cartel. You were in Renegade Cartel during Top Down?
Top Down was actually my fifth band at that point.
Okay, fifth band, okay.
In that little run that I had of every night rehearsal with a different band type deal, yeah.
Right. So with Renegade, I did some homework, and I listened to the Renegade Cartel EP from 2018.
Nice.
And I picked out some choice cuts that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed the whole thing as a whole, but the choice cuts I picked were Fire and Crawl.
Oh, yeah.
The kind of the bookends of the album, which I didn't mean to do that, but that just happens the way, it happens. But very interesting songs. I really like the riff and Fire. Crawl was really, really cool. Then I jumped over to Dear World, which, like you said, released on Halloween of 2019, I guess now, right?
Yep.
And choice cuts in that one were, I really liked Come, and I liked Lose Control. That was a really cool, energetic one. And there's one of them I wanted to discuss with you, a song called When. And I heard it, and I was like, this song sounds a little bit like Shine On You Crazy Diamond by Pink Floyd. And it sounded like there was maybe some influence there. I really enjoyed that one. Is there one or like an EP or the album that you like more than the other, or one that feels more special to you?
Well, the good thing about the batch of songs between the two is that they were kind of all written at the same time. I say that in meaning that there was no specific order to the release and the writing of those songs. When we recorded the EP, we knew we had some newer tunes that we wanted to get out there and some older stuff that we've been dying to since, Vic and I have been doing this for 5.5 years before we settled on the current lineup. So we've been writing these tunes, Yeah, for that whole time. So you got Flying Free, which is on the EP. And then the single for Dear World is called Break Your Chains, the first single off of that. Both of those songs were sent to me at the same time when he was looking for a singer. So there was no difference in the time of writing those two songs, and they're pretty much 90% the same as we had when we first started jamming. So our biggest goal was to record every song that we had in the back catalog. Everything that, we had been working on for all those years between 4 different drummers, 3 different bass players, 2 different guitar players, including myself.
And you guys didn't record at all in the first couple of years with those projects with you guys
for Renegade Cartel. No,
different drummers, all that stuff. No recording at all.
Yeah, it started off with Vic and 2 of his friends playing bass and drums. Once they realized how serious we were, they both pretty much dropped out. We got 2 of my friends to play. We had another drummer in there. Then we had a rhythm guitar player jumping in. So we never had a consistent set to the point where we could say we're confident in going to the studio and not waste time, So by the time these guys had learned the parts, they had already were getting ready to leave. So I did get the last drummer before Rob and the bass player to jump on the studio tracks. One of my friends actually engineered the session, which, I love those guys to death. I've been friends with them forever. But it just didn't work out with they always say don't invite your friends to the band because when stuff happens band-wise, you lose those friends. And I still love them to death. I got lucked out on that. It was a little bit messy when it happened, but friendship prevails. So so we got those 6 songs done. Fire was the newest one at the time, so it was our first single. We were like, oh, this song's epic. Let's do this one too, So we were really excited about that. And then we picked probably 2 or 3 older ones that we knew we wanted to get out there, and a couple of the newer ones that we were working on, not as new as Fire. So we kind of settled on those 6, and then we knew we still had a backlog of probably like 9 songs that we wanted to do, but we just didn't have the time or the money and the resources to do so. So when listening to both of those albums, though the production quality on the record, on the full LP, is enhanced, we recorded it at a better studio, better microphones, all that stuff.
This is the most recent one you guys did?
The most recent one, yeah.
Okay.
Your World,
gotcha.
from Halloween 2019. Although that one's, crisper, Vic had more mixing experience and all that stuff. The songs are super important to us across the board. And we have reasons for each of those. I mean, Flying Free and Break Your Chains across both of them were super important to us because we started. We had Disintegrate and Leaving Fairy Tales Behind that were the next 2 songs out the gate, and we've been dying to do them because they're a lot harder, a little bit more edgier. I can't even go from there. Misery and Company was another one we put on the EP that we loved. It was a little more 80s style. So the thing with Renegade Cartel is that we may not have everybody dig every single tune because some of it's more hard rock influenced or some of it's more classic rock influenced.
Right.
But when we started that was when things changed. That was when things changed. Renegade Cartel always said we wanted to be loud and ruckus no matter what. We wanted to be able to, blow people's hair back and all this and all that. But one of those days you just kind of play a riff and, hey, what's that riff? Something I've been working on for 20 years. Oh, let's keep going. Hey, I have a riff that sounds like that. And we put the song together, and we couldn't deny what we got out of it. We'll have people that listen to us for 45 minutes, and then we play our 9-minute bluesy little ballad there, whatever you want to call it. And people go, where did you come up with that? So, it was a little bit of a departure for us saying we're going to be loud and ruckus. But it really helped us show a little bit more of an emotional side that a lot of people have written in and said, that song makes me cry. That song makes me feel like, I can identify with it. And it's a little bit of breaking up the monotony of all the crazy, ruckus music. So
absolutely, that's important. Yeah.
So it was definitely a moment that we went, we're gonna do this. And then when we did it for 9 minutes long.
Wow.
But in the end, none of us, and nobody yet, and I'm sure there are people that will disagree, but nobody has said that song is 4 minutes too long. They always say it's such a journey that the changes, kind of flow with you. And then on the recording, in the original one, I was always just belting notes up. But in the recording, we started off quieter with a lower vocal, went higher, big grand solo, last chorus out. It's definitely long, but we love it. We get a great response, and we've had a lot of feedback, positive feedback on it. And so to record that and put that on the record was a big deal for us. And I think that right there, along with many other songs, new songs that we had written for Dear World, definitely makes it a little bit more important to us, because it was the culmination of almost 4.5 years at that point of what we had written.
And that's right. These songs you said before, it's the culmination of 4 years. So these songs have already kind of been written. So trying to think of like during that writing process when you did write them, is it mostly as a group setting, or did one guy yourself come in with an idea, just kind of tell people what you envision and they try to replicate that? Or is it actually a group, kind of a group writing experience? Because every band is different. So I was wondering like what you guys did, and how you guys went through that.
Yeah. So I want to say the brunt of the music was written while we didn't have, a steady drummer, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the bass player was around, but the songwriting is done by Vic and I.
I got you.
That's how we credit the things. There are definitely some things here and there that each past member had, influenced, helped us discover, and hey, why don't we try this? And that is, we're always open to it. Right now we're jamming with the current drummer on new stuff, and he's throwing in ideas here and there, but most of the songwriting is done by us. And most of that being Vic coming up with 99.9% of the riffs and sending them to me, or jamming in the jam room, and I'll just sit on the microphone and come up with these melodies. And so the vocal melodies and lyrics obviously on my half. There are a couple of chord changes and riffs that I had put in, not many. So we always just kind of leave it at that. It's pretty much him and I kind of brainchild these things, and then we see how the drums fit into them. If we have an idea with the drums, Rob, I want like a 4/4, kind of this and that, and then halftime during this section, and and then sometimes it's just Rob playing along, and he does a change that works perfectly fine. So
nice.
I think right now, because this is going to be the newest batch of songs that we're writing, although we do have a few that are kind of fleshed out with demos that we're sending back and forth, we're jamming on them and still feeling that drum groove. So it'll be like a polishing. We'll get to the point where we're going to polish it and make sure everything fits right with Rob. But otherwise, it's kind of Vic and I. And I'm glad that he can write progressions and this and that and the chord changes. I can help with arranging a little bit when we come up with parts, or how many times to play this. Is the whole Metallica thing where Kirk Hammett wrote Enter Sandman, but Lars comes in and says, yeah, well, I told him to play this one 3 times and then that one, and it's just like arranging. It's a little bit depends on how the person's ear is, if they don't like that or this and that. But
certainly every I feel like every band member would definitely put their own flavor to it. It might not be whoever wrote the song. I used Derek for an example. He would write like folk songs. One of them was called Backwards Lateral. It wasn't even called that at the time. It was called
Schizophrenic Aztec.
And that was just a regular acoustic riff. It was like a folk song, and he showed it to me, and then it eventually morphed into something wicked funky. Like it just changed. And actually it remind you I'm sure you like the band Yes, Steve.
Oh yes.
They
no pun intended.
Yeah, right. Remember seeing them live one time, and they were saying how they wrote us like Long Distance Runaround was actually a really slow ballad, kind of just vocally. and then it morphed into a prog masterpiece, you know. So that's kind of, it's cool learning how different musicians go about the writing style, because some people go, well, you know, like I was just saying, so you get one guy with an idea, you come in and kind of give it to the group and see how it just shapes and morphs. You know, some ideas require more specificity. I got that word right.
Good, because I could never do that word.
I felt it. I was like, oh, I don't want, should I? Oh, I went for it. I was like, oh, I kind of stumbled and I got it. You know, so I won't say it again. I know I'll screw it up the second time. But yeah, so some songs do require a little more of that, you know, a little more fine details. But I was gonna say also, do you guys ever experiment with like total improvisation? You ever have those sessions where you just go in and the mood is right and you guys just have those open-ended jam sessions and see what comes out of those jam sessions?
Yep. And it's typically, when that happens, it's typically me messing around with something on bass, something a little groovier. So I'll just be playing a little groove along, and Rob will pick up how he feels the drums are, and then Vic will start soloing over it. So throwing in leads, and you know, he'll play some leads that are nice, and you know, they're not like just crazy solos. I mean, his solos aren't like shred, you know, crazy stuff like that. But you know, he'll embellish the progression, and then if it becomes a riff, you know, we'll jam on that for 10-15 minutes and come up with little changes. I'll throw them in, he'll pick them up during the solo, and we definitely do that. It's usually towards the end when we're all kind of tired of nailing the stuff we need to nail, and we're just like, forget it, let's just jam type thing. Maybe one or two fireball nips, you know, not condoning anyone indulging too much during that.
You know, a little bit of maybe some herbal remedies I've heard.
In the past, yes, of course.
Not a lot, just a little flavor is all you need, you know, just a little bit, you know. And so, funny story, that's
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I won't go into details, but we wrote a song like that.
Hey, Stephen, you got a bass sponsorship, right?
I do.
What's up with that?
So I am working with a company in El Monte, California called Alan Eden Guitars.
Yeah, they make really cool stuff. I was checking out their site, and it's really well, first of all, from your perspective, I'm sure you've played a bunch of basses in the past. How does it feel? How ease of playing? Is it a smooth experience? Tonality? How's it sound? What do you think? What do you think overall?
Yeah, so I have been playing bass less than I've been playing guitar, but I've been playing. I think I played like 3 or 4 basses before I picked up one of theirs and started that whole ball. They're very comfortable to me. I kind of feel home on every one of them. There hasn't been one that I picked up and said, this feels clunky, this feels out of place. So they're designed very well.
Nice.
You know, and it's all different. All of, you know, I have like 7 of them, maybe 7 or 8 of them. Ever since, you know, I bought a couple, I've gotten a few from him, you know, going out to the NAMM show, and he let me take one home, or doing promo videos and he lets me take one home. Hey, I have that one in my hands right now.
Oh, which one? Which one? Is it well, let's see if I can get this. No, I think I passed it.
Yeah, it's down on the bottom, I think.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Ooh, okay. I like that. That is fancy. Now this looks pretty sweet. 24 frets, 5-string, humbuckers. What are those Bartolinis? What kind of pickups do they use?
These are actually their stock that they work with. I don't know if they have a brand. I know that they've kind of designed their own pickups. They heavily recommend Bartolinis. I've never had a problem with the tone on any of theirs, but I do have a P-bass by them with a Bartolini set in it that I actually got when Bartolini made me one of their emerging artists, which means you can buy from them at dealer cost.
Oh, sick.
Then they promote and stuff like that. I definitely need to buy a lot more from them to upgrade some of these pickups, but
Yeah.
I've got like 3-4 basses that I love the sound of the pickups for it, and they're just a stock that you can see in any of these pictures here. You know, I have the 5-string Disciple. Was the first one, was the green one right there on the screen.
Oh, to the right
Yep,
there.
that was my first one I got with the endorsement, and the jazz bass pickups. Those things are monstrous. Like I use the Doug Pinnick pedal for a little bit more of a crunchier tone to get that. It's a King's X sound, but we had no other rhythm guitar player, so that mid push really helped. And the low end of those pickups are insane. So
yeah,
they've
dude,
that was a really great
sick.
sound I had before I got the humbuckers.
Yeah, you can't beat a tone, that jazz bass tone, man. If you get like a good set and they're like wired, you know, it's a good brand and all that good stuff, you can't beat that thick, punchy jazz tone.
Yeah, I need to get another Disciple so I can put a set of Bartolini's in them so that I don't mess up the current setup I have. Because
yeah, that's a good practice, man. Buy 2, you know.
Yeah,
exactly. Up.
So I have the J bass pickups. I have a PJ setup. I have just the precision bass pickup setup. I have this. I've got one that's got big fat humbucker and a single coil up top, like a Music Man. But they all have a different tone, you know, obviously as the pickups arrays are, and they all play so nice. Like I have a few of their guitars too, and
oh, that's right, they make guitars.
They do. So they have a whole new. Oh, I love that Phantom.
You know what? It's crazy. Oh, which one is it? Oh, this one. You got this one?
I've been he's been trying to get me to take one, and he needs, you know, I'm not a endorsed guitar player, so he's giving me dealer price, but I have so many already that I'm just like, I need to make sure I can afford this.
I know.
Work.
Yeah, exactly. I got to eat first before I make. You know, it's I do the same thing. You know, I had to like stop going to Guitar Center for a while because I literally actually my most recent bass I bought there was it's a newer Ibanez, and it was this brand, I forget which one it was. It's a 4-string, and it was actually, it got it in Danvers, and it was actually a return from the Boston location. And the Boston location usually has way better basses than the Danvers one. I'm sure you know that. Oh, yeah. This one, it had Nordstrand pickups. I don't know if you ever heard of those, but super. It's a high end pickup, but it's like an affordable thing. You know, they made like an affordable one, but it sounds sick. So, but it's like one of those things. I went in. It was like an impulse buy. I plugged it into an Ampeg SVT 4x8, and I was just like, I have to have this bass, and I bought it. So, not thinking of more sensible things to buy. I just such as the plight of many. Exactly, yeah. So many musicians, I think, go through that impulse buying, which is, hey, you know what? It is what it is, I guess.
Yep.
Right. Hey, Stephen.
Hey.
Without thinking, who's your favorite band of all time?
Metallica.
Okay.
So
had to know.
Without thinking, without any kind of backstory, Metallica is the reason I play. James Hetfield is the reason I play and sing. The diversity, maybe they don't have as much diverse as other artists and bands, but the diversity that James Hetfield can use when he writes, for me is, is perfect. Obviously, like, I'm not always in the thrash metal mood, but I love Load and Reload. They're very bluesy, stripped down, dirtier songs. I went through a phase with Saint Anger because I was an angsty teen, and that album came out exactly when I needed it. Even if you don't like the snare drum, which nobody did, but I needed that at the time, and I identify with it, and I'll defend it to the end of the world just because I accepted it for what I needed at the time. So,
nice, dude.
You're living a lie, yeah. You're living a lie, yeah.
My lifestyle. Yeah. Yeah. So when I get faced with that question, that's always my answer. Is I was working on Dear World, and I said, let me try this like growly, screamy thing. Obviously not screamo like to the point of newer style of metal or anything like that, But I was like, I wonder if I'm at that age range now when James Hetfield had that growl. I wonder if I could do it. You know, it's like that Lion King scene where Simba can't roar and then he finally can, you know? So I remember being in the studio. I said, I'm going to try this. And it's on Leaving Fairy Tales Behind. And it's more so of like a Dave Grohl scream. But I was able to make it happen. And I was just like, that's because of all that, ooh, yeah, James Hetfield practice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
So there's, I mean, you know, if we were to talk about it, I could give you every reason why I like multiple bands. I see the Beatles poster in the background. I know you're a huge Beatles fan.
Yeah, that's not on purpose either. Just where I'm saying. I'm not trying to like market the Beatles like they need it. But
Subtle-
yeah,
subtle
it's
promotion.
just the angle. It's just the angle. It's just it's always behind me because where my laptop's set up. But
Well,
I know you're a Beatles fan. We talked about doing some Beatles songs at one point.
we definitely need to. On the other side, do you have a Rolling Stones poster or
I don't, but I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Stones
Are
fan.
you?
I love the Glimmer twins, Jagger and Richards.
You can't be a fan of both.
I'm a fan of both. You know, it's funny. People compare the Stones and the Beatles, and it's like, why are you comparing them? Because they came out at the same time. Because they're two different bands. You know, the Beatles, I don't even consider a rock band. Sometimes I just consider them a band. They're the quintessential band. The Stones are dirty. You know, they're dirty, and I love their golden period too. The Beggar's Banquet, Sticky Fingers, Let It Bleed, Exile on Main Street. It might be the best 4-string, you know, albums in a row. They're just great. But yeah, big Stones fan too. Absolutely.
Me and my sister. My sister's a huge Beatle fan, and she's Beatlemania status. You know, like legit. When we went to go see Paul McCartney, crying the whole thing, and then he drove by us on Lansdowne Street. She collapsed on her knees, couldn't breathe. Type of Beatles mania. And of course, I can't lie. I got goosebumps. I welled up because Paul McCartney was 10, 12 feet away from me in a car. And I went, oh my God, you know? So, but she is, you know, she's much more, and we always joke about the Stones. She likes the Stones too. But she'll defend the Beatles to her dying day. And, you know, I even saw Paul McCartney had that Wired or whatever interview where he does the autocomplete. And they said, "What, you know, is there a rivalry between the Stones and the Beatles?" And he said, "No, I love those guys." He goes, "But you know, like, you know, they're great friends. They're a great band, but not better than the Beatles." And I was like,
Yeah.
Paul McCartney, you have
Right. Yep. Well, it's funny. It's funny too because in the mid '60s, when in '67, when the Beatles put out Sgt. Pepper's, it was like a milestone in music. And the Stones came out with Her Satanic Majesty's Request. Their Satanic Majesty's Request, and it's them trying to do Pepper, and it's very odd for them to do. I know that it sounds like them trying to do something they're not comfortable with. So the album doesn't. I don't know. It's not a great album by the Stones by any means, but it's interesting, and the album cover is really interesting. The 5 of them sitting there with these like magician hats on. It's very odd, but
and
then
it was
after that,
Sgt. Pepper, they had that, you know, sitting there with all the extravagant stuff, and I remember hearing about that.
And then it's funny because the next album is Beggar's Banquet, and it goes right back to that raw, dirty Stones. And it almost seems like they had a talk, and they're like, you know what, this wasn't for us. Let's get back to our roots. And it's interesting.
They're just straight up rock band. Is you know, Rolling Stones. They're just rock. You know,
drug fueled. Just Monkey Man. You know,
just
songs
Martin
like that.
Scorsese soundtrack. That's what Rolling Stones is.
Well, I mean, in '67 and '68, you get that huge influx of everyone at that point trying to do what the Beatles had done, and not necessarily saying that they're trying to copy the Beatles, but it's working, so everyone's on the bandwagon. You know, the Zombies, which I love to death.
Man,
I saw them 4 or 5 months ago at the Cabot Theater in Beverly, and they were amazing. They're actually kind of like a blues band now because they're so like tight and concise. The new drummer and the new bass player are on fire. They're in the pocket. They're so good. But even going to like Bowie's earlier stuff on his DRAM records, it's a little too late for that bubblegum sound, but you can hear his songwriting in that with trying to do a little bit of what the Beatles had created, and that was that real big era of everyone coming to the front of it, 67, 68, and of course 69 and 70 leading into what became, what now is like the classic rock ever, Led Zeppelin going this way and Black Sabbath a little bit harder on this side, and still hearing those, obvious influences from that. But my biggest thing is how many times, I have to bring up and say, do you realize the Beatles wrote Helter Skelter? And in that time frame, who was doing that ruckus of a sound,
Right.
their brand new 100-watt amps from Vox and just tearing the hell out of those sounds.
And the best part of Helter Skelter for me is always that it wasn't Lennon, it was McCartney. Yeah. The positive, optimistic, happy-go-lucky Paul McCartney is doing Helter Skelter, and I can tell. I mean, I'm so infatuated with the Beatles that I know Lennon was like, well, I got to do something now. Yeah. That competition,
That was their best thing is there was their competition. That was what pushed them for as long as they did. And then they became, almost 30-year-old men. And I know a lot of my friends that I had when I was a teenager and in my 20s that we don't see eye to eye anymore. And especially after all that time working together, it's competition becomes a distance at that point,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Right.
At the very least, they just need some time off, probably. If who knows how it would have played out if the unfortunate thing with John Lennon didn't happen. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe they could have collaborated. Who knows?
The things that
I think it was time to grow up for him.
Yeah, and the thing that makes me feel like so good is knowing that even in like 78, Paul would go to John's apartment at the Dakota and they'd sit on the bed and get high and joke about going down to
SNL,
Saturday Night Live and just surprising everybody or something, just to know that without the music they were able to just sit there and chill. It gives me chills to know that that they were still okay. They just needed a different pattern for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Did you see that movie, that VH1 movie, Two of Us?
I haven't, no.
Oh, man, it's the visit that Paul McCartney makes to John Lennon in 1976. It's fictional for the most part, but it's like the director was kind of like, well, what would it be like if they got together? And I've seen it like 100 times. It like makes me so emotional.
Yeah.
It's very good if you can grab it. I grabbed it on DVD. I don't even know if it's probably on Amazon, but very, very awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it. And then Peter Jackson's working on the new Let It Be session movie.
Yep.
That's crazy.
It's gonna be cringy too because they were breaking up at that point and stuff.
3 movies. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. A trilogy of Let It Be. Yep.
Like the Lord of the Rings, but longer.
I was always aggravated that this always bothered me to no end that "Don't Let Me Down" was not on the original Let It Be LP. And it's because it was the B-side to another song, maybe Get Back, and I was just like, come on, just throw it on there. And then when Paul and Ringo did that "Let It Be Naked," Paul's like, no, don't let me down's got to be on there.
That's such a great song.
Well, Derek, you introduced me to Let It Be Naked, and I've heard they stripped away all the horns and all the
they stripped away the Phil Spector stuff. Yeah, he produced the album and he oversaturated with horns. People like the Phil Spector stuff but some people like it stripped down, so it's a matter of opinion.
Yeah, after hearing that, I went back to the original. I'm like, I like the Let It Be Naked version way better. It's just more raw to the point.
I do like the horns and the long and winding road. It's very epic the way Phil Spector did it, but I also like it stripped down as well. It's more personal the way McCartney wanted it. So
yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. It's good that we have all of those options. You know what I mean? Like they haven't shied away from it. Like a lot of people will do like a remaster, and then the only version that you can get now is the remaster, and things change, and you're like, But the fact that we have, the Let It Be sessions and stuff that were released on different versions and all the rooftop recordings and this and that just really feel like it's awesome because you'll be listening to Don't Let Me Down and then you'll go to sing Believe Me and it's not in the version you're listening to and you're like, oh right, that's on this one,
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It just feels good when you have those differences. And I've always talked about that, like musicians and their live versions or re-recorded versions, and I go, I'll take that song 100 times in different ways if you want to do it. You know what I mean? Because there are certain times where you can feel the vibe that was produced on that. And, I know that when I do like acoustic stuff, I change my vocal almost insanely dramatic. I try to bring it down because on all the most rare recordings, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. But I love that option to be able to kind of feel the difference between it. And, obviously going through all the Sgt. Pepper demos that they released on the deluxe boxes and the extra demos on the White Album and stuff, just sitting there listening to that as if you were right there with them going through those takes, or the Strawberry Fields, different tempos and different keys, and how they put it together. And it's just so good.
Yep. Dude, I could do a whole podcast just talking about the Beatles. And actually, I might want to do that.
We're getting pretty close with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's just, I could go off on the three of us could go off on tangents on this and just go album by album almost.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, it was great having you on here, man. You're going to be our first guest, I think.
Awesome.
We have some other people who are lined up, but we wanted to get you on immediately because we just know your love of music. And your incredible talent and all the instruments you play and all the bands you play in. And like I said, you're a great vocalist. You're very confident, and thank you for being you, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me. It's pretty much everything you guys do, I love to be involved in. I love the new tunes. I love the old tunes. I love watching you guys jam. It's always such an adventure, and you guys are so unique. I actually haven't seen you guys with the new drummer, right? You have a new drummer?
Yeah, we got a new drummer, Akiba. Yeah, he's I don't even know how to describe him sometimes. I sometimes just look at him with my mouth open.
Yeah.
My lip down, because he's so talented and so incredible, and he's so fun to play with. So we can't wait to play with him more in the summer if that happens. We don't know what's going to happen.
If there is a summer, hopefully there will be.
Summer.
It just goes from May to like November, and I'm like, shit.
I have a lot of concerts that I've gotten plans for. Black Crowes are coming back. I'm going to see them twice. I got Guns N' Roses in New Jersey because the Black Crowes are playing at the same time.
Nice.
I bought tickets to Rammstein, and then of course we had shows booked into June, July that we're all we don't even know anymore. So
right.
Unfortunately, we can't fight it, so we'll do what we can for what we do. And I know a lot of people are gung ho to get back out there, and they want to fill up a huge venue with 150 people, but maybe we should trickle it just so that it stays a little dormant.
Yep.
I know we're all dying to get out, but I'm super stoked to see you, the new drummer. And then of course, keep me posted if you need anything. I'm always good to record something. I know we talked about doing the Beatles stuff. I'll play whatever. If you need some keys, if you need this and that, I'm pretty much a music. I'll leave
aficionado.
I'll leave that word out, what I was going to use, because it's a dirty word. But I just love working on it so much that I always try.
Were you going to say music slut?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, that's fine.
I was going to use the WH word, but works perfectly fine.
I'll edit that.
I like
I'll
it.
leave that as PG.
We're not going to keep this PG. So.
Oh, good. I swear like a sailor, so I'll leave that off there for you guys. But I know you guys are amazing musicians, so I'm always in the music world, and even more of these. If you've got other avenues you want to talk about instead of just kind of free form or whatever, we can. I'm down for everything. So keep me posted. I can't wait to see other people and what you guys talk about there too.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks so much, man. We appreciate it.
Before we let you go, man, is there anything you want to plug? Any kind of promotional thing on your end? Any websites you want us to advertise for you before we leave?
Big push right now is keeping Renegade Cartel alive, and you can get us at renegadecartel.com. It's got YouTube's, iTunes, link trees, all the pages up there. My band, which this is going to leave a lot of people puzzled, my Japanese rock band is still currently doing short versions of duets for Japanese songs from the 90s. So that's up on Zero's page, and that's zerobandboston.com. I sing in Japanese, and we're doing stuff from the 90s.
I definitely got to check that out. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that existed until just now.
There's a YouTube channel that has invited us to work on these songs with them and create new content. And there's a singer in Japan who's doing some solo work now, and we do duets. and my guitar player from Zero. It's the whole band Zero. It's just me and him still. But we're doing covers and little Q&As and stuff about that. So that's active while still working on tunes with him. So that's the two big things I'm pushing right now.
Nice, dude. Keep it up, man. Anything we can.
And still, and you know, Dear World by Renegade Cartel is less than 6 months old. It's not an old album. Definitely check it out on Spotify and all streaming platforms if you want a nice kick in the ass.
We've got 15 tracks on that album. It's almost 76 minutes. We were afraid that it was going to be over what a CD can handle, but most CD players play up right up to the 78 mark right now, 77, 59. So we threw all 15 tracks of backlog, brand new stuff. We've got classic rock, hard rock, slower stuff, bluesier tunes. If you don't like one track, hit the next button. You might find the next one is a little more tailored to what you have. Couple groovy pieces and stuff like that. So Dear World, it's available all over the world right now. And we got physical copies if anyone's interested in not coughing on one, but we'll sanitize it for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Excellent,
Rub
man.
it clean. I like it.
Keeping it clean.
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. Again, we appreciate being our first guest. We are honored. This is a milestone for us. Is it? Can you start with a milestone? Can you start with a milestone?
We start with a milestone.
Can you start with a milestone? We're going to start with a milestone in this one. I think.
Milestone quality. Okay.
I think so too.
We're gonna share the heck out of this, and hopefully people watch it, and we can keep making more, and hopefully you can come back and we can just have special episodes of just talking about whatever we feel like.
Absolutely. Like there's plenty to talk about, and I could go on for days. So we can pick a guideline and kind of run through it and try not to go off too many tangents, or we can freeform. I'm good for all.
Open invite, man. Open invite.
Awesome, man.
Sweet, man.
All right, dude. Well, good talking to you. We'll see you again soon. Good luck, and take care, man.
Stay safe, guys. Thank you so much.
You too, man. Take care.
Peace.